All right, what's up, everybody? It's another edition of the Brisco Big Ace Show. Hello, Big Ace here, and we're glad to have another week here. Of course, we got West jamming out. We thought we'd bring you a little bit of music as we start the show tonight, and we also have a very special guest. Man, so many things that we're going to talk about with this guy. So many things to say about this guy. Second generation star. Debuted at 16 years old, the inaugural winner of the WWP World Cruiserweight, FCW Tag Champ, Heavyweight Champ, WWE Tag Champ with our good friend Mr. Heath Slater, TNA King of the Mountain Champ, and also currently Slamforce African Champ. So, Mr. PJ Black, the Darewolf, Dr. Black, welcome to the Brisco Big A Show, man.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I've been looking forward to this whole week. So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Dude, first of all, man, it's good to see, especially how I was saying earlier, that smiling face. I mean, it's good. Like, so I met PJ probably, I can't remember how long ago. It was like right when he first got into FCW. Like, right
2010. It's been 10 years.
10 years. And he came in. He had that cool little haircut with just like the hair just going over just a little bit of his eye. Just, you know, just that cool man. Did the
boy
coolest
band look
he ever. The craziest thing is, like, you came in and there was a group of guys that came in. And when they came in, they were just such great talent. I mean, from like PJ, from you, P to Fandango, to just the talent was just phenomenal. And you came in and you like literally like Dusty Rhodes was like, oh my God, this guy's a superstar, and you instantly were the champion, like right away. But you well deserved it. You came in there knowing how to work. Like, you came in there with pretty much just like ready to go. I never got the chance to ask you, like, how were you so prepared and just like showed up and was like, yo, what's up? Like, 450 bam, like 1, 2, 3, give me the belt. Like, what, tell me how like that came all about, dude.
So at the time, I've been wrestling for 10 years, you know. So I've been working the indies, and I started when I was 16 years old. So I've already been wrestling all around the world. So I knew I just had to learn a couple of things like camera angles and the WWE style and the backstage politics, if you will, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I was lucky that Steve Kern and Dusty and Norman and Dr. Tom, they all loved me and they gave me a shot. And that's the key in wrestling, man. Someone has just got to give you a shot. You know, they got to give you the ball and see if you can run with it. If you mess up, then that's it. You drop the ball and then they move on to the next guy. But they gave me the ball and I just freaking ran with it.
Dude, you more than ran with it. It was like, I love getting to watch some of your matches. And like, I start come back and watch some of your old school matches because we kind of got like a lot of time in FCW, and we were able to like kind of like be us and like do our stuff to get us over. Where, like when you got to the main roster, they kind of like toned you down a little bit because the stuff you were doing in FCW was like way advanced beyond what everybody else was doing. Like you, TJ, and a couple other guys were at a certain level where we were just like low key. We were just like, damn, these guys are like, there was just something that you guys just had more than the it factor. It was like a whole new style of wrestling that really, you guys kind of like, everyone wants to say Kenny Omega and all those guys kind of like, and then that style, but you guys kind of were on the forefront and like really changed the game because you guys were the first people to do all that stuff. I mean, there was guys before that, WCW and cruiserweights, but you guys did more of a storytelling, but still put in all the cool high flying moves and like yet told a full story, and you could see if someone was hurt or you guys were selling apart. It was really a cool thing to see.
Yeah, so growing up in South Africa, we didn't have a style because Japanese, they have the strong style. Mexico, they have the lucha libre. The American style is very established. There's a lot of TV wrestling and storytelling, which is my favorite part of wrestling, by the way. And then the British style is the, what do you even call that? The technical style. So in South Africa, we didn't have it. Yeah, so we didn't have a style. So what I did was I took pieces of all those styles and I combined them, and I focused on the entertainment aspect, the storytelling, because let's face it, that's the most important. Even if you want to admit it or not, that is the most important thing in wrestling. Everyone likes the action and the stunts, but if the story isn't good, then you're not going to give a damn, right? So I think it's very important, and it's cool now that all the kids on the indies they do that style, because a few luchadors will still just do lucha libre wrestling, but for the most part around the world, everyone's kind of like mashing up the styles. I call it the hybrid style, and it's pretty cool to see how it's evolved.
Yeah, it's definitely a new scene and definitely hybrid, and I think you were like the main person to like really put the hybrid style, make it cool. Like even even though you were in like Nexus and stuff, like the chicks were like madly in love with you. Like everybody wanted like to hang out. You were like the coolest dude in the world. So it was so hard for you to be like you.
It was a good time for sure, man. Like you know what? That time in FCW that you were talking about, that was probably my favorite time in my career. I've been wrestling for 23 years now. And I remember getting there and everyone was just like so angry and upset because everyone just wanted to get to the main roster, right? So every time someone new came in, they were like, I wouldn't say threatened, but maybe they were like, who the hell is this freaking guy?
Oh, it was a Shark Tank.
Yeah. And I remember everyone just kind of like giving me shit and stuff like that. And once they saw me wrestle my first match, then everyone was like, "Oh, damn, this kid can work." So then I got booked on everything. Everyone wanted to be my friend. Everyone wanted to work with me, and that was the most fun time in my life because I was only in FCW for less than a year. And coming from Africa, I come from a third world country where I was working indie shows and traveling, driving hours for almost no money. And here I was in the US getting paid a lot of money. I have no rent, no phone, no bills, nothing. I just got to wrestle every day. And to me, that was living the dream. Everyone was like, I want to get on TV. I'm like, you get to wrestle every single day. This is the dream. And get paid.
Yeah. It looked like you guys had a lot of fun during those days at FCW. Wes will tell me stories all the time from back in that time. And it sounds like it was blast. We had Heath on here. He was talking about it too. You guys had some of the best coaches that you could possibly have.
Oh yeah, we've been so lucky, man. All of them, and I've learned so much. Like my dad was a wrestler, I'm second generation, and but I've learned more than anything from all those coaches. Dr. Tom especially, Norman, man, Steve Kerr, Dusty. I mean, Dusty's a legend. Dusty will go down in the history books. Anyone who's ever worked with Dusty made it somewhere in wrestling.
Yeah, and he fully would actually like. The cool thing about Dusty is like. It didn't matter who you are, what color, what race. It didn't matter with Dusty. He would give you the time of day. And if you took his information and you applied it, he would keep feeding you more. But as soon as you didn't do what he said, he'd be like, next. And you could totally feel like he was giving you the perfect information. But some people were just not smart enough to soak up that information.
That's so true, man. So true. And we saw it all the time, Like how many, when we were there were probably like 112 kids at the time. Yeah. And Dusty took his time to work with everybody, and everybody who listened made it to TV and made a success in wrestling.
Exactly. Like Dusty, I mean, he was awesome. And then of course we had the great Norman Smiley, which man, like Norman, like I give a lot of my credit to like Norman because he would stay after practice with me and work with me. We had some of the best coaches, but yet our place was such a Shark Tank. We were like, it was hard. Like we like laugh and like joke about it, but when we actually got to have fun, we got to have fun. But most of the time, we were working shows every single day, and we would maybe have Sunday off. And some of the drives were long, and it was brutal, but yet, we still had our fun and we still got to like kick back and relax. But
so much fun. What a good group of guys and so many talented guys. I mean, 80% of the roster right now actually probably 90% of that FCW roster is on TV right now. I mean, you can't say the same for NXT. This is not me hating on NXT, but think about this. Has NXT ever trained someone from scratch that's on TV? One guy. And I mean, the product is great. Don't get me wrong. It's not a developmental territory anymore. It's probably more like a brand, but still, NXT is still the old FCW. And I do love the show. NXT is fantastic.
Did you guys have any matches? Did you guys work together out there?
Just in a couple of tags and like 8-mans, and we've never had a singles. Recently on the Indies, we had an epic 3-way that was gonna be epic, but both of us got injured in the first minute, so we had to like go home immediately.
Yeah, I got my split open from here to here.
I split open. Yeah, I got kicked in the nose. Like I had stitches in my mouth. Both by the same guy. We won't say too much about him. He's not a bad dude, but it just happened. It just happened that day.
Yeah, it was a bad day at the office, as you.
I know, and I was so looking forward to that match too, dude. Like
me and you were both, and I was like, man, because at first it was just me and you, like versus each other, which I was like, yes, finally, and then it got thrown a 3-way, and we were like, because I don't know, we were already just stoked to like when you already have that chemistry and you already know, like, okay, and then you get thrown like a bone, and you're just like, it's kind of like, okay, whatever, But
yeah,
it is what it is. We all learn from that. But so I want to know, when did you get into skydiving, and when did you get certified? Like, because were you certified when you came to Tampa, Florida, United States, or
no? I'll tell you the story. You'll actually enjoy the story. So why we bonded, because I grew up surfing. I'm an avid surfer, and I know you are too. I grew up surfing, and in Florida there aren't too many waves. You got to drive up the coast or down the coast to find waves. So I was looking for something to keep me busy when we weren't working. And then one day I did a tandem skydive, and it was cool. It was all right. I mean, I didn't get hooked or anything, but and then 2, 3, 4 months later, I pitched this Daredevil character, and I told Vince about all the stuff I want to do. Like motocross, surfing, all the extreme sports. And he said, "Can you get a photo of you skydiving?" And I was like. And I didn't know I could, but I said, "Of course I can." So I went to the skydiving club. I signed up for the course. So what you do is you sit through 6 hours of ground school. They teach you everything, and then you jump by yourself. But you have 2 instructors, one on this arm and one on this arm, and they kind of just fly around to see if you can.
You didn't have to do the like mandatory.
No.
You didn't have to do the mandatory. I think it's like.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do any of that if you sign up for pilot school, because I wanted to be a pilot anyway. So I just went through all this shit. But anyway, I wanted to do just that one jump to get a picture and show Vince, but that's where I got hooked. That jump where I jumped by myself was just the most freeing thing ever. It was just incredible. And I think I wasn't booked for like the following month because I was supposed to work on some vignettes, but I think it takes about a year or 2 to get certified. I think I got certified in like 2 weeks, dude. I would knock out like 10 jumps a day. I would go extra training. I would go into the tunnel. I would go spend time with the military guys. And then I became a coach. And then I became an instructor teaching other people. But I don't do that anymore.
My good buddy Ryan?
Yes, that's exactly it. Actually, we started together.
Small world, right?
Small world, dude. We actually started together. Ryan is a badass. He's still one of my close boys, dude. He's one of the best skydivers on the planet right now.
Yeah, doesn't he mainly focus on capturing the moments, right?
Right. He does cameras, but he also puts up events. Like he's got like 2 or 3 world records. Like he helps with these massive events where they try to set up world records and stuff. One day I'll get onto one of those.
Yeah, dude, I'm surprised you don't have one. Like it's like me and him, like we were like professional wakeboarders together, and we used to be together and stuff. But yeah, I'm surprised you don't already have a world record.
I got to put the time in, So like I'm so busy with wrestling and all my other businesses and other sports. So I don't really care too much. I just want to have fun. I'm like a soul surfer. You know what that is, right? I'm a soul skydiver.
Yeah, dude, that's so sick. Like I love looking at your post, and like for me, like I skydived a couple of times, but then I got really hooked into at one time I was bungee jumping, and I got hooked into the guys with vertical bungee jump. And these are guys that are like I'm not talking about like bungee jumping at like a fairgrounds or something. Like we're talking about sneaking onto a bridge and like he's like, hey, we're all going to jail. Not only going to jail, but we all could die right now. Like so, it was like like meeting with these dudes. These dudes are super gnarly, and they're like, everything by the book. Everything has to be right. Everything like it was crazy. I did like one of my jumps was like 378, and it was like right at sunset. I'm in Seattle, Washington, and I'm like, all right, and I jump, and I remember just jumping and just falling and just seeing like the whole mountain range and all of sunset and just that couple seconds of just complete free. It's like it's like being a barrel, or it's that one time where time stops. It literally time like feels like it like you can hold in a little bubble and say, guess what? I'm just gonna capture it it might not happen very long, but you can just capture it just for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, where it feels like an eternity, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah. So that feeling that you're describing, those 2-3 seconds, you get that for 60 seconds in skydiving.
Yeah, dude. But see, when I did, I was attached to somebody, so I was like, like it's kind of like, that feeling. It's like,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I got hooked when I did it by myself. That's when I got hooked. Like, I was like, yeah, it was all right. But like, once you like do everything yourself, and you go through 6 hours of ground school, and they teach you all the emergency procedures. But once you pull that parachute yourself, and you look up, and you're like, oh man, I don't remember any of this shit.
Do you pack your own pack now? Like, are you?
Oh yeah. Of course.
I mean, dude, so sick.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, because I was watching some video of someone skydiving, and I was just like, man, I want to do it. But that part where the door opens and you're like right on the edge, I don't know if I can do it. Like
that's the best part. That's the best part. Even my friends who are scared of heights, they go, "Yo, when that door opened, I just wanted to get out of this thing." Like that's what they. And those guys.
The plane is super rickety too. Like the plane is not the best plane. It's like going and then they slide this door open. Yeah.
Norman just texted me. We were just talking about him.
No, tell him you're talking about him right now on the podcast.
Will do. He's the man. How funny is that? I've been doing that lately. Whenever I think of someone, they either call me or they text me or something. It's crazy.
You know why? Because we have a good spiritual vibe. I feel the same way. Like I feel like we have a good soul, a good like me and you have never ever been caught up in like ego or just any of that. We've kind of just always been us. We've never really changed at all. We've kind of just been like a wave. We just flow through the ocean, and wherever it brings us, it brings us.
I think it's action sports or extreme sports, as people call it. That's why we are like that. Because think about it, Ryan is like that. Other Ryan is like that. All our friends who are into extreme sports are like just the coolest people. Like I don't know, maybe it grounds us in a way. Maybe we just have a different outlook on life. I think that's what it is.
Well, I think it's because we're always putting life and death, and we're playing with it, but we respect it. And a lot of people don't understand that. Is like they're like, Wes, when you're crazy because I've been big wave chasing. Like that's been my thing, is trying to catch a 30-foot wave.
Yeah,
and like everyone's like, what? But I'm like, I'm training, I'm doing breath holding, I'm like doing certain things, but yet it's that we all have respect for each other because we know how much effort and how much skill it takes to be humble enough to be able to throw your life out there just for that 60 seconds of pure bliss and happiness. There's a lot of preparation and preparing for us to be able to reach that level.
Right. Many people don't know that, don't think that. They think we're just yahoos who do crazy stuff. Like, I mean, you just talked about the training for the big wave surfing. I trained for 2 years before I surfed big waves, like doing the breath work, carrying the rocks at the bottom, and, like all these things that we do, it's very calculated and stuff. We're not crazy people. I don't know. I think people that don't live their true selves, they're crazy.
Yeah.
For sure. No, you guys, the thing is, people don't realize, like, you guys are probably some of the hardest working people around. I mean, really, you guys are always on the go. You're always doing something. You're always inside, outside of the ring. I mean, skydiving, wrestling, everything you got going on. I mean, in West, you're the same thing. I mean, we talk all the time. You're cooking, you're doing your cooking show. You're out there spearing fish. You're surfing. You guys are always doing something, and that more people need to be like that.
Oh, totally. And hopefully we can inspire some people to do that, dude. Like, you have to live your life the way you want it. I hate it when people tell me like, oh, my parents told me not to do this, or the government told me not to do this, or the teachers told me to live this way. Fuck, excuse my language. F that,
We're allowed one. We just
okay.
We're allowed to do as we want, but we just try to keep it like
fair enough. Sorry, I just got so emotional there. I don't cuss that often, but you know what I mean? Like, nobody knows your own truth. So you have to live your life the way you want to live it. Like, don't listen to anybody else. Take advice maybe from your peers and stuff like that, but don't worry about it. Even your parents, they don't know what you want.
Right.
Yeah. And that's totally true, because doctors have told me after knee surgery, I will never be able to do this ever again. And I look at them, I'm like, you don't know my willpower. You don't know my soul. You don't know me. Maybe you will stop because you don't have that passion, that drive to become something greater than you already are. I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm kind of like a caterpillar. Eventually I'll get to that butterfly state, but right now I'm still going through periods of my life where I still haven't got my wings yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still like, there's so much more yet to discover and be. Like, I can't just settle right now for where I'm at. Like, I believe that there's something greater and bigger, and maybe I think crazy, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. You're right, and I feel like Earth is a school. We're here to experience certain things. I think feelings and emotions and stuff like that, because on higher planes you don't get that. There's not a lot of like feelings and emotions as much as they're here. So I think maybe Earth is just a school. I've been recently doing past life regressions and going through my lives in other timelines, and I never used to believe in stuff like that. But like, once you experience that, man, you know what it's like. Whereas once you open up that gland, it's just like
it's oh man. Again, one of our viewers said wise words, both of you, and that's very true. So, because Wes, you were talking about how they said you weren't going to be able to do much again. PJ, you kind of had the same thing happen.
Yep.
You were base jumping. Is this correct?
I broke both my legs twice. Same thing. They told me I'll never wrestle again, probably never walk again. And I was in a wheelchair for 10 months the last time, and I was like, I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I can and cannot do. I have to at least try, and I did learn a lot in those 10 months. It put me on the path that I'm on now. I taught myself some skills because I thought maybe I won't wrestle again. So, I started doing other stuff and setting up projects and businesses. But then I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come back. Even if I retire after that, I'm going to come back and show everybody that I can do this. Hopefully I inspire a couple of kids, which I'm pretty sure I did. Who knows? Even if I didn't, I'm stoked about it.
So what was the change? Like, what was it that all of a sudden that fire was reignited?
You know what? There was a few things. I was at the time, like most wrestlers, I was hooked on alcohol and pain pills. Like most guys and most athletes, you get addicted to these things because it's just a lifestyle that we live. And I was in hospital, and they gave me a handful of pills, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. So I started like reading books, which I never did. Now I read like 2 books a week, and it started from there. So that's another positive change in my life. And so many other ones. But anyway, I started doing research on alternative healing and holistic medicine and stuff like that. And I discovered so many things that helped me. And I don't even go to the doctor. I don't take any antibiotics. There's a plant for every single thing on this planet. I work and I live with a lot of shamans and stuff like that. And they teach me about medicine, like natural medicine from the Amazon. And I don't admit this very often, because if my mom's watching this, I'm sorry. But when I discovered cannabis, And I never touched it in my life until I was like 36 years old. But for pain, I have arthritis too in my whole body. When I discovered cannabis, I didn't touch anything else. Like I stopped drinking alcohol. I haven't had a drink since. I stopped opiates. I stopped all that stuff. So for me, it was amazing, actually.
A lot of people don't realize that. See, I come from my culture, my heritage is Native American. So we believe in all plant-based healing. We don't believe in, pills and all that other stuff. We believe that Mother Nature provides us with, plants and the healing. And
I believe that. I believe it.
The opiates, and we've seen it with NFL, we've seen it with basketball, we've seen it with baseball,
MMA.
MMA, especially with MMA. That's one of the biggest ones where a lot of the guys were like, hey man, like we do not want to take these pills anymore. We're so banged up, and people don't understand. Like, you guys don't understand. It's like wrestling and MMA and extreme sports and all of that. It's getting in a car crash multiple times a day. It's like literally getting in a car crash multiple times a day. And you're doing this day in and day out. You're not sleeping. You're not eating properly. You're traveling. You're not comfortable. Your diet gets messed up, and you have to get something just to get you by. It's not like, oh man, we're gonna party. It's more like, man, I gotta, sit in a car for another 8 hours, get out, do this, jump on the plane. And, thank goodness now people are starting to see that there is a plan out there that can help you, that can actually do some good for you. And yes, everything has its evils, but with that plant, there's a lot more positives than there is with negatives. And
Exactly. And there's so many more plants too that we're discovering now. There are hundreds of plants. Just in cannabis alone, there are hundreds of cannabinoids. We know of two. We know of the CBD and the THC, right? The psychoactive and the non-psychoactive one. There are probably about 90 other non-psychoactive ones that do things for us. And many people don't know this. Now that it's legal, we can study it, and slowly all the others, psychoactive and non-psychoactive mushrooms and all these other plants and medicine.
Ketamine.
Exactly. Ayahuasca. Like, these are great medicines.
But
the last couple of years, the steam's really been picking up. You're really seeing it now.
Yeah, but all if we do it properly and do it with the proper shamans, the proper doctors, the proper like guys, we're not promoting anything. We're not, we're just saying there's other alternatives out there than being addicted to pills or alcohol.
Exactly.
Those are the killers. And just be smart and be aware, and do your research. It's good to be smart and read and know everything. Like, just get your knowledge of everything. Like, I Google whatever I do. I Google and see the out terms. Whether it's what I eat, whether it's my workouts, whether it's a breath holding technique, whether it's fishing, whether it's surfing. I always try to make sure I know every bit of knowledge about what activity I'm doing, no matter what it is in life.
That's why you're so good at what you do. And that's why some of us excel in certain things, because we take the time to study our craft, and some people are visual learners. They can learn from just watching. Some people have to read a book. Some people have to learn a different way. And that's the key. I think people just have to find a way that they can learn, or they can connect to whatever it is that they're trying to do. You can be successful in anything. Like, whatever you're passionate about it, you will make money in it eventually, if you're passionate about it and you learn it and you study your craft and you know everything about it. That's a fact.
That's true.
I'm very curious to know about this, because you mentioned that you didn't even, back then you weren't reading books at all. Now you read 2 books a week. Now you're also writing a book. Is that correct?
I am. I'm writing a book on biohacking, actually. So this is another thing that came from my accident. I was studying holistic medicine and alternative healings because I didn't want to. That was my first and only surgery I've ever gotten, because I choose not to get the surgery. A few times I probably should have, but I didn't. I have this gap here. But anyway, so on my journey, I discovered all these biohacking tools, if you will, like cryo chambers, the hyperbaric chambers, the red light therapies. Like, I mean, there's so many, like the fascia release, like, there's so many, and I've tried them all, and I try to document most of them. But now I feel like more people should know about this, so I'm going to write the book.
That is awesome. I got to hook you up with the guy that he'd love to give you some information.
I'd love to.
Me out with concussion, and he really helped me out with my lower back. He was doing electronical acupuncture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was insane. The sessions would last for around 30 or 40 minutes, and literally my back pain would go away.
Did he do it with needles?
Yeah,
meters. He would read it out. He would do it like I did blood work with him first. He did like a bunch of he worked for a guy. He worked for the White House for a little bit. Then he went over to Japan and worked for this doctor that trained him, and then he goes back and forth and helps the guys at the White House. And then he does certain sports guys, and he just found me and hit me up. I was like, yeah, my back's so bad that I don't want to get back surgery, but he's like, well, I can fix it. And believe it or not, with that electrical acupuncture and bringing the proper electrodes to certain areas and breaking up the blood flow and just relaxing certain muscles, and just it worked. And it blew my mind.
Powerful. So they've taken that even a step further, because as we know by now, everything around us is frequency vibration, right? So sound is a frequency, light is just a frequency. So instead of the electric pulses they can do it with light. They can do the same thing, but you have to know where the meridian points on the body is. Like a really good acupuncture guy will know. So they don't even need all the electric stuff anymore. They have this little light thing, and they can just tweak it to any color they want, and they know exactly what color goes where. Like for instance, I did a past life regression the other day, and on my foot I had to put the yellow line. You go up there and you go up and down 3 times, and it's basically like acupuncturing the whole thing, and it doesn't hurt because it's just light, and there's different spots in your body that you can do it. You have to be good at
he got me a couple times where I was like, this kind of hurts, and he was shocking the shit out of me. I was like,
So with a light, the light doesn't shock at all. You won't even feel it with a light.
I use my one F word.
There it is.
So back to the light. The light, you don't feel.
Yeah, and the light thing, it works exactly the same, because it's a frequency. It shoots whatever that vibration, same as the vibration of the sound. The light shoots that through the membranes. I don't even know exactly how it works, but it does. It works exactly the same, and there's no needles, and there's no vibrations or shocking or anything, and it works exactly the same. It's so amazing.
The whole theory behind it is it breaks up blood flow. So blood flow. The more blood flow you have, the more you can heal whatever is hurting.
Right, and more stem cells.
Yeah. So when you get hurt, you get a lump or a claw, and that helps break it up, which creates healing faster.
Right. Yeah, and the body works, everything in the body works like that. Your digestive system works like that. Your arteries work the same. Obviously, if your blood's really thick, it's going to struggle to move. Your fascia works like that. Every time you get an injury, right, your fascia kind of bulds up. That's the ball you're feeling. It's not so much the muscle, it's the fascia. So the fascia is the thin sheath that's between the muscle and the skin, and it balls up, and you have to work it out. But they can do it with sound now. But it not only physical trauma, it also holds emotional trauma. Because if you get your whole body done, you'll start crying for no reason. You'll be like, what the hell's going on? And it was just normal. I even had a spiritual experience. I released some DMT, and I went into a freaking different universe. Once they release all those little tension balls, it really is amazing. Because your body can heal better. It can absorb nutrients better. It just does everything better.
Well, that's the one thing that he told me. He's like, Wes, you fully have to release everything while I'm doing it. He's like, you don't release everything. And I'm like, whatever. He goes, if you cry, if you whatever, it doesn't matter. You just kind of have to release everything if you really want this to get healed. And, I'm a spiritual dude. So, but at first I'm like, really? I'm like, and I really don't feel like crying today. Really? What's up with that? But then, like, once he started doing, and once he hit a spot and hit an emotion and it hit something, and I released everything, it gave me freedom again in my back, where I was like, wow, like,
yeah, that's the best thing I've ever done. Like out of all the biohacking things, and I've done it all, that the fascia release, I don't even know what it's called, fascia contouring. There's only one. Yeah. There's only a few doctors that know these techniques. This guy that I went to, he's actually trying to go around and teaching all the other doctors this, because I mean, more people need to get healed. You know, like how many people live in pain?
Yeah, and instead of just getting diagnosed with the painkiller, these guys are actually doing good, and it's actually healing. Where you don't, all you need to do is drink some water afterwards.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I've been someone who's always been, you know, doctors, meds, whatever, my whole life. And in the last few years, I've tried, you know, acupuncture, I've tried the cupping, I've tried the float tanks, I've tried some stuff, and yeah, it was like, wait a minute, this is an option. Like I could have been doing it the whole time.
Right.
What do you?
It's think about this, and not giving anyone talking bad about any industry, but the medical industry is a business, and they want to make money. So if they heal you in the first session, they're not going to make money, you know. And that's a sad part, because a lot of doctors are just in it for the money. There are a few who are in it to help people and heal people, but for the most part, not. You know, big pharma, we see it all the time. Like, why do they give people certain drugs when they can? Exactly, it's a work. It's a freaking. It's a business, so they want to make as much money out of you as possible. They don't care about your health.
Yeah, I don't believe in all that stuff, but he's the devil. Like,
yeah,
they were like, God, man. They've destroyed too many lives. But so right now, like, what's your path right now with wrestling? What are you just right now? Just, is there some goals you want to achieve? Is there, are you just like, for me right now, when I wrestle, it's not about, for me, it's more about helping kids. And I know it sounds kind of stupid, but it's when the kids come up to you and say, hey man, I've been going through a lot, and you know, you took the time and you actually, you know, helped me through this problem. That's kind of what's keeping me wrestling right now. Is
right.
It, like, we have this weird ability to be able to reach people, and like, my wifey, my girl, my beautiful woman, she always tells me that. She's like, you're so nice to all these kids, and you mean so much to them, and you put your life out there, and you destroy your body, and you're not chasing after any championship. But it's just like, I don't know. I love being able to give those kids a break from reality, whether,
totally.
You know, like, what's your path right now?
So, wow, I mean, so a lot to touch on here. Like, I feel the same as you. I like to motivate and inspire kids, so much so that I actually started a wrestling company in South Africa, and I'm setting up wrestling schools all over South Africa, because I want to teach kids what I have learned. You know, not a lot of kids from South Africa have had opportunities, unfortunately.
No,
you know, so exactly. So I want to create opportunities for those kids. You know, but right now, I just signed a massive multi-year deal with Ring of Honor, which I'm really stoked about. More money than I made in WWE and all the other companies. So, and I think it's a fantastic company, man. Like, people are sleeping on ROH, but once the Pure tournament comes out next week, and it's going to be awesome, bro. Our new set looks amazing. My music is sick. Like, everything is just perfect. They give me full creative control, bro. Full creative control.
Stop me 1 second. Tell me about the music. Tell me about the
yeah. So Michael, maybe we can play it on here, maybe afterwards or whatever. But yeah, Michael Tarver did the music. I've been working on it with him.
Tarver, you had, dude.
Yeah, Tarver did the music. I gave him a couple of phrases that I wanted him to use, but I also worked with another music producer, John. He did the beat. I told him exactly what I wanted, and we played around with some stuff, and we worked on it since November, so it's been coming a long time, but I'm so stoked about it. You know, the whole character is coming together nicely right now. I've been working the New Japan shows too recently, so I've been back and forth doing that. We did the Pure tournament, the Ring of Honor Pure tournament. We bring that title back. That was one of my favorites as a youngster. So I'm hoping I get to go far in this tournament. But in the same week, I also did the New Japan USA Cup. So it's been a pretty busy week for me. and it's been fun. It's been, I haven't wrestled in 5 months, so my body kind of hurts a little bit, but it feels good. Like after every match, I was like, yeah, I want to do this because it's weird because you know what it's like. You kind of lose passion for a little while, and then you kind of go through the motions. But I feel like I'm more passionate now than ever, especially with the creative freedom they give me, my storylines that I get to be hands-on involved with, and the new character and everything. So I'm just super stoked right now. But
what was your opinion of wrestling with nobody in the crowd?
Oh, that was tough. That is extremely tough, and I'm not a fan of that. But right now we got to do it, right?
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Like we have a TV show that we have to produce for the New Japan show and also Ring of Honor. So we have to, put content out there. Actually, Ring of Honor hasn't filmed shows at all, but we have been creating content from home. I actually did a whole episode on extreme sports. So if you guys want to check that out, it's free on Fight Network or the Fight app. It was pretty sick.
Where can they check it out? Give the people details to find it.
The Ring of Honor is in a different time, different place or different channel in every area. But most people, you can watch the weekly show on the website rohwrestling.com.
What's your segment? Where can they find your stuff?
Oh, you can go on Fight TV. Just go on Fight TV, the Fight TV app or fight.tv online, and you can watch most of the wrestling shows for free there.
But they can also type in, I believe, PJ Black, and it'll be all your stuff. Like they don't, let's say someone I didn't want to sit through and have to watch everything. Go in there and be like, oh man, I just want to watch my homie PJ Black and see what he's up to.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna pull it up here right now, actually, so you can see. So this is the Fight app. You type in Ring of Honor, and you can kind of scroll through.
To, Mike Weber, the owner, CEO, good friend of mine.
Yeah, same. See, there's a whole episode just on me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude, guys, you guys got to check it out.
Yeah, it's a fun one because there's a bunch of extreme sports in there. 3 of my favorite matches so far in ROH. And it was hard to pick 3 because every single one has been a favorite so far, because I have the freedom, the creative freedom, so I can just do whatever the hell I'm good at. Like it'd be me.
And see, I feel like that's so awesome because there's guys like you and Heath Slater and a lot of guys that if they get the creative freedom, it's not like you're going to go out there and do every spot. You're still going to tell a story, but you're going to actually be able to grab that paintbrush and be that Bob Ross and paint that little happy tree somewhere. You know what I mean? That's our whole thing is to be able to create and give the fans an illusion of something greater than what we do. It's an art form. It's that little happy tree somewhere, and that's the whole thing. If we get when we get constricted, it's so hard to be able to paint because you're only dealing with, purple or dark green. And you're like, two colors. Right.
That's funny that you bring up that analogy because I used it before. Years ago, they were like, why did you leave? And I'm like, well, think about this. Imagine telling Picasso he can only paint sunsets for the rest of his life, nothing else. You'll get extremely bored. You get bored, you get annoyed, you get angry. Who knows? Everyone reacts differently to it, but that's exactly what it's like. I don't like to do the same thing every single night.
It's like getting that little 4-pack of crowns. And you're like, wait a second. I know there's a pack that has every single one, the 50-pack. I want the 50-pack.
Right.
To me.
Well, you know what's really cool too about you guys, if anywhere either of you two go and do anything and having that creative freedom, what's awesome is, nowadays with all the different products and stuff, there's a lot of stuff where it feels the storytelling aspect and everything. And the old school way is kind of maybe dying a little bit, but you two understand that, and both of you do an amazing job in any match that you're in, telling the story, going through the motions, getting the crowd invested on whatever it is, which is amazing too for these up and comers now coming into the business to be able to learn from 2 guys like you who still have that old school feel. So it kind of, because sometimes I get a little bit like, man, this isn't wrestling anymore.
Right. Yeah. But that's funny you say that. Thanks for that big compliment, Big Ace. But it's true though. You might think it's kind of dying, but it's not. There are very few guys left who kind of put it in. Even guys that you think are spot monkeys, they're actually incredibly good storytellers because otherwise you wouldn't care about them. So like we're on the underground. Like we're in the bigger companies. We help other guys put matches together because we want the show. We help wherever we can, and then there's quite a few of us, and a lot of the youngsters that I train, I teach them old school style. I'm like, you can do whatever you want. You can do all this new school stuff, but just know how to do it. You know, and Dwayne Rock told me this once. He goes, you can adapt to whatever you want, but you got to learn the basics first. And that's what I tell kids. Like, learn the old school style. You can do whatever you want after that, but trust me, you're gonna make it if you know the old school style.
Well, PJ, don't you think it's too many people? And I make this analogy with the companies that I work with, and the when I age in a match or I do my little bit in wrestling, is I tell people, I go, you guys are too worried about getting claps.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you get people cheering your name? Because when they go home, they're going to know their name. They're not going to remember the guy they clapped for. They're going to be like, whoa, that guy did a cool move and I clapped.
Exactly.
I'm with them, chanting PJ, because then they're going to go home and they're going to spread that name, and that name's going to live forever.
Right. Or they jump out of their chair and like, did you see that? Did you see what that guy did? That's what you want. That's the reaction you guys want.
Yeah. And it's because you're the puppet master. And I'm so tired of wrestlers letting the crowd dictate what you do. We dictate what the crowd feels, or if they cheer, or if they're boo. And like too many people are too worried about getting, and you got to worry about getting yourself over and letting them remember your name. I don't want people to clap for me. I want them chanting Brisco, Brisco, Brisco. That means they're clapping for any move I do.
Exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, man. And I wish more kids would understand that. A lot of these young up and comers don't understand that, but there are a lot of them who do understand that, and they get it that quick, And then the other kids ask him like, "Hey, what did you do to get over?" I'm like, "You don't see what he did?" Like,
and I think you were one of the prime examples of that. Like even in FCW, you always paid attention to the crowd. You were always really aware of the crowd's reaction and your reaction that you receive back to the crowd. You've always been.
We play off each other, and that's what it's about. Like people go to a show to release, like you said earlier. You want to get away from reality. You want to enjoy your time. You want to join in. You want to cheer. You want to like clap. You want to yell the guy's catchphrase. You want to do all these things. That's why you go to a show, and that's why it's so hard doing these empty arenas. But there are ways to do this. Like, so you got to change the psychology up a little bit. It's a little different way of storytelling. Everyone's still trying to just do the same thing. You have to adapt. You have to always, wrestling is always evolving. You're going to have to always adapt. Look at the guys right now that have been wrestling for 20, 30 years. They are there because they have adapted with the times. If I'm just an old school wrestler, maybe I would be somewhere, but I can do all the styles. I adapt to wherever I go. And I think that's the key.
Yeah, and that's why your style of wrestling has been one of my favorite styles, and something that I've always, looked up to and imitated. And it was funny because when I was at FCW, I didn't really get it because I came straight from extreme sports and amateur wrestling and having 2 different black belts and whatever, all that other stuff. So I didn't really get it. I was just FCW style. And then when I got released, and I was able to go to Puerto Rico, I was able to go to Europe, I was able to wrestle all these other different independents. I was able to wrestle Japan, Canada, Mexico, Bahamas, wherever. I was able to soak up all these different styles. And I think that's what's really helped my style of wrestling and create who I was, and which I'm blessed that I almost wish every wrestler could almost, before you get signed, be able to go to all these different countries to learn and soak up all these different knowledges.
That's what the territories were. That's exactly why the territory. You would go to a territory, stay there for like 6 months to a year, sometimes 2 years if you were making money, and then you'd move to New York, right? And then you'd move to Texas. That's how it used to work. Even South Africa was like an unofficial territory. And because you go to South Africa, you go to Britain, you go everywhere and you learn, and then you hit the big time, It's kind of like, that's a kind of lost part of the business. But like you said, there's a lot of us who still do that. A perfect example is Fit Finley's kid. He did it the old school way, and look at him, man. He is fantastic.
What a
Dude, what a
stud.
stud. So good. I mean, he's third, fourth generation wrestler. Who knows? But I mean, it's in his blood too. And hey, coming back to that, you could have fooled me, man. You say you didn't have it figured out in FCW. I thought you were incredibly talented, man. I was like, yep, this is just in his blood. Like you walked in there within 2 weeks, you had a match or something, and I was like, wow, this. I thought you've been working forever.
Well, they were just like, well, if you get lost as amateur wrestler, I was like, huh?
Yeah. Right. See, so I would never have known that. I thought you were great from day one, dude.
No, dude, I had no idea. I had like no clue, and that's why I think a lot of people kind of hated on me, and a lot of people didn't like me. You know,
most of the second generation guys, a lot of guys didn't like.
Yeah, like there was a lot of hatred, but I just worked hard, and I just mind my own business and did me. I didn't really care about what anybody else thought, but and like. It must have been crazy for you because you came from a whole nother country. You came from like literally like the farthest man, I did too. The farthest place physically possible you could come from. I've done that plane ride 3 times now, and it is biatch.
How long is it?
From Atlanta, it's like 18 hours, but I'm in LA, so it's like 23 hours.
Yeah, it all depends on if you're flying to Johannesburg or you're flying to Cape Town.
Yep.
That's a whole nother plane ride. That's another 3 or 4 hours. Like counting over the 24 5-hour flight from either LA or luckily I got lucky. I got direct from Johannesburg, and then after Johannesburg got out and then went to Cape Town.
Oh, nice.
So, okay, back to you. Fresh baby face, smiling, don't know anything about the U.S. Bam, here's PJ.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. Like you said, I didn't know anything, but I did know how to wrestle, and I do know how to make people cheer. I do know how to make people laugh. I know how to make them like me or dislike me. So I just use those skills in everyday life. I use it in the training school. I use it on the coaches. I use it in front of the audience, and it works every time. But it's not like I'm trying to manipulate people. I just you adapt to.
I want to know, what was the feeling like? Did you like you just saying, okay, I'm about to live out my dream, but yet I'm coming from a whole nother country and I'm leaving everything back at home. And I'm just going to say, you know what? F it. Bam. Like, that had to been, I mean, I've lived places, but not as far. Like, I've lived in Puerto Rico, but that's only a 2.5 hour flight here. That's not a whole journey to get back home. Like, we're talking about a whole nother journey just to even try to get home, let alone loved ones communicate, because there's the time difference is way off. Like, as a young man coming to U.S., just being thrown like into Tampa, like, because I know like Johannesburg, like Cape Town, like at all parties, but you just getting thrown into the U.S. Like, what was that like? Like, how did you feel?
I mean, I remember just feeling really good because, I got to live my dream. I got to like wrestle every day. And that was an amazing feeling. I will never forget that actually when I got the phone call. That was probably the most incredible time ever. Like I was just like, I remember being on the golf course and I just jumped up and down and some dude was about to tee off and he's like, shut up. And I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm moving to the US. You want to come? And she's like, yeah, sure. I was just stoked, because I didn't know too much, but I knew that the U.S. was a great place, and I knew I wanted to live here because I could live my dream. And that, to me, that was the biggest thing, because I would have lived in anywhere. I would have lived in China. I would have lived in like any place if I could wrestle every day, because that was my dream ever since I was a kid. And I've been very lucky that I've been traveling the world doing that.
So let me ask you this: you say it was your dream.
Oh, sorry. I also lived in the UK for like 5 years. I lived in London for 5 years. I lived in Edinburgh. I lived in Scotland for a while. So I've kind of been like a gypsy my whole life. So I do like the traveling.
Is that where you went to school? Was in London college?
I went to college, yes.
Because you have remind me what your degree is.
I have a master's in sports science and nutrition.
Hell yeah!
I was actually thinking of doing my PhD so people can legit call me doctor. But Dr. Black, yeah. Well, in the Eastern medicine, I am a doctor, just not in the West.
There it is.
But I don't think people get the pun of the doctor.
Yeah, no, we won't get into that now.
No, we won't.
So, like you were saying, as a kid, you've always wanted to be a wrestler and stuff. So I do want to ask, because you were involved in a moment on televised wrestling that was a pretty iconic moment and got reaction that at that time seemed to be missing. You weren't getting the reaction that you guys got when the next takeover happened on Raw. I mean, just what was going through your head when you guys came out that night? Just because, again, that still, I watched it recently, and that's still an iconic moment.
Well, it is.
Stale. What's that?
Raw got stale, and everything was like kind of like just like how Ace was saying. It was kind of like nothing was happening on TV, and then all of a sudden, bam, you guys.
Well, that was Vince. That was all Vince's idea. He pulled us into the office that day, and he goes, "This is what you guys are going to do." And we all kind of looked at each other, and we're like, "Yeah, I guess that." We've never seen that because, Dr. Tom used to say this all the time: "What's old is new. What's new is old." There aren't many storylines that are unique in this business at all. Like everything's borrowed from the 50s, sometimes the 1600s. Wrestling's been around forever. It's very hard to come up with something unique, and I think we did something unique that day. But it was so unique that we didn't really know what to expect because we was like, "Oh, this is different." But yeah, whatever. We're gonna listen to the old man and just do whatever he wants, and it turned out great. And I don't think it really sunk in until we started doing like promos when Raw opened. Like we used to walk to the ring. When the intro played on TV, we used to walk to the ring, and you can just feel the heat. Look, I'm getting goosebumps. Like you could just feel that energy, and people were so like hating us so much. Like it was awesome. Like it was so cool.
You guys literally changed the ratings of Raw.
Yeah,
you guys made Raw cool to watch again.
Yeah, I wish that whole angle like carried on for a little bit longer, but it is what it is. Like,
yeah, that was an amazing moment. It really was. Just the reaction of the crowd that night. Like I remember the close up of the one lady where she's like. On the barrier, and it's like because again, it was you've seen the run-ins and stuff like that,
right?
It just destroyed the whole place.
It was super fun. It was, I tried to set the ropes on fire, but they wouldn't let me do that.
Hey, but wouldn't as being a fan and someone watching, wouldn't you say that finally lit Raw back up? That Raw was kind of stale at that time, and finally Raw got some like oomph behind it. What do you think, Ace? Like as being a fan, as being someone watching it, didn't you feel like the Nexus really brought Raw to a whole nother level?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what was going on storylines leading up to when the Nexus stuff happened.
Exactly.
So, definitely. And the other thing too is, I mean, I will always remember the splash off the top rope to kind of end that as well, because it was like, whoa. Like this is crazy, and it made it exciting. I remember going to Bragging Rights 2010, and that was the show where Cena and Otunga became tag champs, and it was also the last Buried Alive match that's happened with Taker and Kane.
Oh wow, yeah, we were involved in that too. I forgot about that. Yeah,
you all came out at the end, and again, that was another moment of why no, what is going, and then. Super invested. Like that night, we were like, I can't wait to see how they get involved.
Right.
Kane angle, which then nothing ever did happen with it.
But
like, oh man, I remember being in that building that night, and it was just like, what? Nexus in this too? Oh my god!
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, they should have maybe handled it a little bit different, and I'm not exactly sure what happened with all that, but. That's wrestling. I feel like there's just too many wrestlers and too much talent on WWE. Think about it. They have like what 200-300 talent, probably, maybe. I don't know, like a lot. So I think like
you guys are all the studs. You guys were they were all scared because you guys were all the up and coming young guys, and you guys had the big guy. You had the high flyer extreme, getting all the girls. You had the Carver, the puncher. You had Wade Barrett, the bare knuckle fighter. You had Champ. You had such a crazy group of diverse people that ain't nobody messing with you guys.
Oh yeah, and that was a shoot too. Even like backstage, I think in FCW as a group, we went into the office. We're like, yeah, we're done with developmental, and we were.
Had been a great feeling.
Yeah, good times, man.
All right. So we're about to wrap it up. What else is for the journey of PJ? What else do you have in store? What else can people follow you? Like what else do you have planned?
Ooh, so many things. If you go to my website, pjblack.com, there's some cool merch on there. The links to my YouTube, I haven't posted on there in a while, but if you go to my YouTube, there's some cool like extreme sports stuff, a lot of my favorite matches, and all the links to my social media. I recently started a supplement company. Not what you think, not bodybuilding supplements. I don't take any of those things. It's all adaptogens and stuff. I created a nootropics, like so stuff that's good for your brain. Busy reading the book. And I help a lot of startup companies, like startups. So I have a few things in the works that I'm working on. Like I don't have to wrestle ever again if I don't have to, but I just love this stuff, man. I'm gonna wrestle until my body gives out. You know, all these other businesses can sustain me one day. You know, I'm cool with that. But yeah, I recently also took up paragliding, and Wes, you have to try that out. Like out of all extreme sports I do, this is my favorite one by far. It's slow.
You're controlling a lot.
But you can stay up there for as long as you want if you learn how to read the weather and you follow the birds and stuff. I did a 3-hour flight the other day in Monterey. I stayed up there for 3 hours, dude. It was awesome.
I was going to ask you too, just because I have to, because I made a comment to you on Twitter today. What was with the jetpack?
So I guess like someone flew the jetpack near LAX, and like everyone thought it was me. I mean, but the guy's in serious trouble because the FBI is looking for him right now. And they
definitely not PJ, all right, guys.
Yeah, I'm like, it was definitely not me. If it was me, I would have posted that shit all over social media.
Yeah, you would have gone viral.
Yeah, but the jetpacks are getting big right now. I have a few mates who have some, and they're incredible. The technology is going so quick right now.
What about your? Okay, let's talk about real quick your suit, your Batwing suit. That thing, it's a wingsuit, right?
It's a wingsuit, yeah.
Yeah, that thing is sick.
Thank you. So how a wingsuit works is like, you know, you got the extra fabric there. So in skydiving, you fall straight down. So now I get a 3-to-1 glide ratio. So for every meter that I fall down, I get 3 meters forward drive. That's 40 miles an hour down, 120 miles an hour forward drive. Where skydiving, it's 180 miles, 125 miles an hour down. So now I get that forward, and just with a little bit of down, and I can control it. It's an amazing sport. That was probably my favorite until I discovered paragliding.
So wait, when you do this flying suit, I mean, is it just like kind of like a base jump too? You just go somewhere high, jump, fly down?
So the base jumping, wingsuit base jumping is one of the most extreme and most dangerous sports there is. But you train by going through the plane, out the plane first. So you jump a couple of hundred jumps out the plane, so you can get to know it, and then you kind of like eventually progress to jumping that suit off a cliff, because when there's dead air, it's really hard because you got to get that angle perfect so you can catch wind and inflate so you can go. But out of the plane, you already have the speed, right? So when you exit the plane, the thing just inflates and there you go.
Yeah, and then too with the plane, you don't have the backdrafts of the wind that could push you against the rocks. There's more variables to just running and jumping off a rock than there is a plane. People don't realize that there's trade winds, there's winds that's coming up underneath you, that if you don't get a certain amount away from the rock, that the wind will actually pull you either towards the rock, or what you want is the wind to get that outgoing gust to pull you off of it, right?
Right. You're absolutely right. But for base jumping, we try no wind because we don't want, because if there's a wind, it can hit something and come back, right? So we try to go when there's no wind, and we plan a lot. We check the weather. People think we just go out there and jump, but like it takes sometimes weeks of planning a new site if we want to base jump it.
Wow, man, that is crazy. You have got, like I said, an interesting life, my friend.
Thank you.
You really do, man. And it's cool to see someone living so free and happy.
Dude,
I do. Life is meant to be lived, man. I hope I can inspire and motivate some kids to do the same. I know we're going through a difficult time right now with all this, you know, BS, whatever you believe in this, but like, you know, I feel like if we can all just stay positive and help each other out, and, you know, not what they try to do is cause separation. You know, we're all humans here, and if we can all stick together, this place will be such a cool freaking place.
But also, don't you think that people should get outside and stretch and get in the sun and not be we're not going against anybody's rules. This is just our opinion. But don't you think people should go outside, stretch, get some sunlight, and actually get some vitamin D, go for a walk, not get trapped.
Yeah, no, it's a must. I mean, I don't care what anybody tells me. You're not going to stop me from going outside. It's been scientifically proven that if you put your bare foot on nature, on the grass or on the beach or anything, you exchange positive ions with Mother Gaia, with our Earth, and it actually heals you. It helps you with positivity. It helps you heal. It helps you create stem cells, and same with the sun. If you get a certain amount of D3 on your skin per day, it helps you heal. It helps you just be a better person. So if someone tells you to stay out of the sun or not walk barefoot in nature, just give them the bird, that legit makes you healthy. Like, we have cured people that have some crazy diseases, and try it out. Like, next time you feel a cold coming on or anything, just go walk barefoot in the nature and then outside in the sun. I guarantee you it'll work. This is not pseudoscience. We have proved this in many studies. And I'm a nerd. I read medical journals all day, and I can direct you to all this research.
Yeah, what PJ is talking about is that our body, we produce a certain amount of energy that we let go. And a lot of times we release it from your hands, your feet, or your forehead. And Mother Nature puts off this energy, which is a proven fact. There's magnets and there's energy pulling, and there's a lot of things going on. And then when you put your feet in, let's say, into a sand, there's a reaction that is actually proven fact through energy and chemicals. Everything is hitting your feet, and that's going to your brain cells, and it's creating a state of euphoric or just relaxation, because it's a positive energy that is it's a proven fact. It's just like, have you ever felt like you sit on the dock, you take your shoes, your socks off, and you put your feet in the water, and for that 2 seconds, for real quick, what happens? Everything just goes quiet.
Right. You feel amazing because you're tuning into the resonance of the earth, the frequency of the earth. And that's our true frequency. We have all these distractions around us with 5G and infrared and Wi-Fi and all this stuff. It's all this energy, like you're saying. So it's coming into our body. So it's kind of disrupting our cells and stuff like that. But once it's called grounding or earthing, and it's a massive
I've read that stuff.
Right, and there's a massive chapter in my book about it too. Like, grounding it's incredible. It's a real thing. We can scientifically prove if you go outside in nature, barefoot, and just chill outside, it definitely builds new stem cells. It releases dopamine, serotonin, all the happy hormones. It definitely does a lot of things. Most people take nature for granted, man, but the nature is where all the cures are for everything on this planet.
That's crazy. I mean, we could keep going with this for hours, I think. But is there a tentative release date or with the book or anything?
So I was planning on Christmas, but now there's so much new research out. Realistically, probably next Christmas only, because there's so much research, and I want to cover it all because there's so much, and I feel like people need to know about these things. Like, I definitely want to help out as many people as possible.
Yeah, I can't wait to read this.
I'm so proud of you, dude.
Thank you, man. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, man. And again, everybody check out everything you got going on. You shout out all your social media and stuff. And, hopefully things can get back to normal and you can get back to work and keep going to shows. I know was that the first Slam Force show that happened that you guys just did?
It was the first one. And then, we had 2 that was canceled, and then we had Shad booked for another one. And unfortunately that happened, and then COVID happened. There's just so many things happened. It's already tough doing a startup business. It's even tougher doing a startup wrestling company. And, it was just timing. But let's hope the stuff goes back to normal pretty soon so we can get back at it.
Yeah, for sure. PJ, we're going to have you come back for another episode.
Yeah, I'm down. You guys let me know.
It's going to happen.
I'm down.
Thanks to Nick and Chris Kachera, our Kachera boys, our friends. They're always with us every week. We love those guys. Josh, Kara, some other people that were commenting. Thank you guys. Wes, do you have any shows coming up? Is Atomic this weekend?
Man, to be honest with you, I'm more rather talk about how happy I am to have PJ on the show, and how happy that we get to link up, and maybe we can help some people right now, put a smile on their face, and
hopefully we can travel to South Africa and do that show, and then I'm gonna take you to some secret surf spots, bro.
Oh,
yeah, dude, I can't wait, dude. And man, you got to hit me up when you're in Miami or next time you're in Florida. Let's link up, and dude, definitely. All I wish is nothing but the best for you, man. And I'm just so happy with everything that you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I'm more proud of the book. That's like something that, like that's just so like badass. And like, I'm proud of all your accomplishment and everything you're doing, and just you being you, man. And like, oh man, there's so much more stuff I want to talk to you about. But
we'll to be continued. We'll do this on another day.
Sure.
Wes is right, because I've watched all your stuff. I've followed you for a long time, but I've never actually met you or talked to you till today. And
what a stud!
Yeah, dude, you are a great soul, and that is what's needed today. So, man,
thank you much.
We can actually kick it. That would be great.
I feel like this is in every religion too. Like, people complain about how other people treat them, but if you treat other people how you want to be treated, I promise you it'll make such a big difference, and it'll make a big difference in this universe. So everyone, that's your homework for today. Go treat everyone around you how you want them to treat you, and I promise you will bear the fruits.
That's right.
Yeah, or just give someone a smile. Yeah. Just smile and just be. Oh, I guess you can't because you're wearing a mask. So
yeah, right. Well, thank you guys so much for everything. We'll do this again for sure.
Hang on 1 second while we end the live broadcast.
Yeah. Stay on the thing while we end this real quick.
Everybody, thank you again, and watch. We'll probably come back at you with another episode next week of the Brisco and Big A Show. Everyone have a great holiday weekend, everybody.